Hello, Garmlings! Today, I decided to answer a question I've had for 5 months. Did Donk have the greatest year in Counter-Strike history? A loaded question, really. And before we get into it, I just want to state, it's insane how this stuff works, man. Literally, Simple stops playing for a little bit, and immediately someone new comes along who individually might really be able to compete with him. This happened in the NBA with MJ and LeBron, in the NFL with Tom Brady and Mahomes. I mean, those are all the examples I have now, but I'm sure there's more. Now, I can already imagine French fans thinking of ways they can end my life. Listen, guys, ZywOo is great. He's probably having the best year of his career, and maybe he could top one of these 2 years in 2025, depending on how well Vitality does. But like individual, when I watch a player with my eyes, ZywOo is incredible, but I don't think he's to the level of Simple or Donk, at least in my opinion. It's kind of like when Simple and Device were going at it. Device was incredible, and I mean, he had the achievements, but individually and mechanically wise, he just wasn't the player Simple was. So in this instance, ZywOo's kind of like a Device, but with just 3 less major wins. Sorry, I mean... But when it comes down to the greatest year in Counter-Strike history, my mind goes to 2018 Simple, 2021 Simple, and 2024 Donk. Now, 2018 Simple versus 2021 Simple in itself is an extremely tough debate, but in my professional opinion, 2021 Simple was just a little more refined and confident than 2018 Simple, especially in bigger games. In 2021, it seemed like he was just immune to pressure, unlike every other year. And personally, I value mental fortitude extremely highly, and is somehow already one of Donk's greatest strengths. Also, Simple agrees with me, but I do get the argument for 2018 Simple. Worst team, Prime Astralis, he was still fucking mental. So to not waste anybody's time, I will only be comparing 2021 Simple and 2024 Donk to see who really takes the Counter-Strike GOAT year crown. Hey guys, it's me, Garmour. Things took a turn for the worst. It all started when me and Quanda went on our 7th date. It was all going perfectly until Quanda, these last 3 weeks with you have been the best weeks of my life. I know it's early, but if you know, you know. Will you marry me? I hadn't seen her for an entire week up to this point. And that's when on my hospital trip, I was diagnosed with severe schizophrenia. The doctors had told me Quanda probably never existed in the first place. And that just didn't sit too well with me. After the incident, all they let me do in here is look at my sexy new knife that I got all thanks to today's sponsor, CSGOluck. Only available if you're at least 18 years old. CSGOluck is one of the fastest growing CS2 websites with a ton of different games to play, such as case battles against other people or bots, opening individual cases, and many more. But best of all, if you use my link in the description and use code Garmour, you will get 3 free cases. Getting started is incredibly easy, as you can deposit with crypto, card, or even your old skins. And once you're all said and done, you can get instant withdrawals with crypto or their huge inventory of skins. Alright, it's about time Garmour goes back in his cage. Back to the video. Yeah. Flame me for being a stats monkey, whatever, bro. Lick the eye test monkeys come off your chin while you're at it, eh? Now, stats don't tell the entire story, but they do a great job at supplementing it. So we're going to be using them as a base point to start this comparison. Now, if you're new to CS or HLTV and don't understand the rating system, I got you. Extremely simplistic explanation. 1 is average, below 1 is below average, and above 1 is above average. Anything like 1.2 or higher is considered really fucking good. 2024 Donk had a 1.37. 2021 Simple had a 1.35, but if you put the top 20 filter on, they are perfectly even at a 1.34. What now? Well, it's pretty simple. We're going to top 10, and at top 10, Donk drops to a 1.29, with Simple staying at a 1.34. Top 5, Donk drops to a 1.23, while Simple only drops to a 1.33. Donk was better against everyone, but against the top tier competition, Simple stayed consistently better. Now, this also doesn't take into account the roles of the players. Donk having a rating this good while being a rifler entry kind of. He started 2024 as more of a hard entry, but slowly phased out of that just due to how valuable he was. But even not as maybe the always hard entry for the team, his numbers are still incredibly impressive for a rifler. Another thing to take into account, Simple had all of his ratings done on HLTV 2.0, and Donk's was all HLTV rating 2.1. Now, there isn't a huge difference between the two. HLTV rating 2.1 is mostly just fine-tuned for CS2 and to work better with the MR12 format, but there were some changes like not getting boosted as much for saving, which I'm sure being an AWPer, Simple did benefit from in 2021. Now, another way we can look at these two players' stats is just the compare feature on HLTV. This literally just shows when playing against everyone. Donk was better at everything but surviving and flash assists, which makes sense, but when you switch it to big events, Simple just destroys Donk. When they came back from online play, his land stretch was just unbelievable. Rating through the roof, insane impact, nearly a 1 KPR, kills per round. Wild stuff, man. Also, at majors, which I value incredibly highly, Simple was just better. When you look at these player graphs as well, Simple was just consistently a monster throughout the entire year. I mean, look at how goddamn straight his line is. While Donk had a higher ceiling, but also a lower floor. Now, another thing we can look at is the player's Leadify scores. It's a different way to measure performance, and the way Leadify explains it is it's a impact-based rating system. So basically just how much did you impact the team's rounds won versus rounds lost? Are you a big part of why your team is winning rounds, or are you just kind of there? For this, 0 is meh, a negative number is you hurt your team's chances, and a positive means you were actively helping your team's chances. It's an interesting statistic to take into account, and when we look at Simple's 2021 Leadify rating, for only HLTV matches, it's a 3.62, with his year high coming against Renegades on Nuke at IEM Cologne 2021. In this game, his HLTV rating was a 2.3. Donk's in 2024 was a 2.54, with his high being the game where he broke the kill record against Wildcard. Makes sense. And his HLTV rating was a 2.44. Now, for the most part, this just confirms what we already knew. Simple was consistently better throughout the year, while Donk's highs were goddamn astronomical. But I do think it's interesting that Simple's Leadify rating is almost an entire 1 higher than Donk's, which all things considered is quite significant. Anyways, let's wrap this up. On to the eye test. I've been watching Simple and Donk demos for 5 days straight, and I've come to this conclusion. Donk is probably the most mechanically gifted player to ever exist on this earth, and yes, that, in my opinion, is not an over-exaggeration. Even more so than Simple. The movement is more fluid, the first bullet accuracy is fucking mental. But even when it isn't, the sprays are goddamn perfect. For me, the main difference between Donk and Simple is when I'm watching Simple, I go, wow, this guy's fucking cracked at the game. But when I watch Donk, it's like, wow, this game just looks so incredibly easy. And that's the thing, man. Like, this game is absolutely not easy, but Donk has mastered it to a point where everything just looks second nature, unnaturally smooth. Now, with that being said, mechanical skill isn't the only thing in this game. 2021 Simple's ability to win literally any round was incredible. 2v5, 1v4, 1v fucking anything, it didn't matter. You literally could not count this dude out. It felt like if he was in a 1v2 or a 1v3, the odds favored him. And this wasn't only because his game sense was absolutely insane, but he was great at breaking up 1vx situations into 1v1s and then winning that 1v1 incredibly quickly. I think honestly Simple's maybe most underrated skill is just his ability to break up those duels. Along with this, you remember a fucking Simple flick, man. He had so many and they were just all insane.
Simple's gonna get himself. Oh! That is something special.
Now listen, I know this isn't from 2021, it's from 2018, the year I already discarded, but this specific wall bang is like hard coded into my memory for some reason, and I just don't think I'll ever forget it.
It's already achieved 50% of. Oh my god, I'll get back to that in a minute. No.
Now with that all out of the way, comparing an aggressive rifler to an AWPer in 2 different games is obviously a little tough. Rifling is stronger in CS2, which benefits Donk, but opping was stronger in CSGO, so it benefits Simple. So like I said earlier, I guess it cancels out, but like Simple was also cracked on rifles and pistols, and like Donk is never in positions too clutch really, so of course he just won't be as good at it. But then again, he literally had clip of the year, which was a 1v5, so like of course he could do it if he had to. It's like, fuck, man. Simple's a flashier player for sure, but that just comes with being an AWPer. It's like comparing Donk and Monacy. Of course, Monacy is flashier, but I wouldn't say he's better. I still gotta think on this. This one should be fairly quick, I would think. 2021 simple achievements, number 1 on HLTV, major winner, major MVP, 8 MVPs, which is the most ever in one calendar year, 5 EVPs, most aces at a big event, 4 at Cologne 2021. Became the only player to make a major final with 3 different cores. That is insane. And also best team of the year. I don't think I forgot anything. Let's hope not. Donk 2024 achievements. Number 1 on HLTV. Rookie of the year. Opener of the year. Highlight of the year. Major winner. Major MVP. 5 MVPs, one of which was a tournament he lost, which is extremely rare. 3 EVPs, most MVP awards in the first year of play, tied with Zaiwu. In his S-tier LAN debut, he tied Nico for the single highest rating at a big event LAN, a 1.7 at IEM Kato. Highest ever rating at a major, a 1.49 at Shanghai. Youngest player to win a major and major MVP. Youngest player to be first on HLTV top 20 list. And he tied Simple for the most aces at a big event with 4 at the Shanghai major. A lot of these are extra just due to him being so cracked during his rookie year. And extra categories were added later on to the HLTV awards. Highest rating of all time at a major, along with tying the ace record at a major, is pretty fucking mental. Simple did have more MVPs, but that partially comes down to just Na'Vi was a better team at the time. But in my opinion, Donk kind of cooks in the achievement category. This category is great because we know these players are obviously important, but this gives us the raw numbers. 2021 Simple went negative in 22 maps. Of those 22, Na'Vi only won 3, which gives them a 13.6% win rate when Simple goes missing. In 2024, Donk went negative in 24 maps. Spirit won 4, an 18.2 win percentage when Donk goes missing. Now, this isn't perfect by any means because if your star player is going negative, you're probably just losing the game. But I do still think it's a fun stat to consider, and overall just shows like, yeah, obviously when these two guys go missing, their teams are kind of fucked, which honestly this was kind of shocking to me because I thought Na'Vi were the better team than 2024 Spirit were. So you think Na'Vi would be more well equipped to win when Simple isn't on his A game, but according to this, I guess Spirit were more well equipped to win when Donk went missing. At the end of the day, they're both very close, so we're moving on. The last category is player consistency, and to be honest, we kind of already talked about this, but all I really need to do is just look at their player rating graph again. Donk starts the year higher, but falls off slightly towards the middle of the year, and they're fairly even towards the end. Simple just flat out wins this category, and honestly, you can tell from the eye test as well. He was just consistently a monster throughout the entire year, and Donk did have that slight slump in the middle of 2024, but then again, it is easier to be consistent with an AWP over a rifle. Another comparison issue, but we move. So if you were to grade these two players on these 5 categories, 2021 Simple would still be the greatest year of all time. He had better stats against better teams, a better Leadify rating. Eye test wise, I'm still struggling to pick between these two players, so we can just put that at a draw for now. Even if Donk won, I don't think it would matter. Donk goes on to win the achievement category, but Simple comes back to win the team success when player goes missing and consistency categories. But personally, I'm not even sure if I believe it. It's just tough, man. I think when Donk was at his peak, he probably is the best player in the history of this game. His Kato run was actually record-breaking, plus his major run at Shanghai was just incredible. Highest rated major performance of all time, and one of the greatest major final performances. I mean, the fact that they won that final with 3 of the players on the team going completely missing is crazy to me. He was not losing that motherfucking game, man. With help from Magix, of course. And all of that in his rookie year. Honestly, if he doesn't have that slight slump in the middle of 2024, he probably runs away with this. But that's the thing, man. If Simple was consistently better throughout his year, it's kind of hard to argue against it. Yes, Donk's highs were astronomical, and like I said, it might be the best player I've ever personally watched play the game. But over a full 12 months, over a full year, Simple was just better. The CSGO GOAT versus the CS2 GOAT. And I mean, fuck, man. If the categories pick Simple, who am I to say they're wrong? But don't be sad, Donk. You did all this in your rookie year, which means you have a lot of time left to do even better than you did in 2024. And to be honest, I have no doubt that you will.